Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit up to $250. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back, all from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Dan Illman, Mike Buer kicking off a 50-cent pick 4 at Pimlico on Preakness Saturday with race number 6. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 3 Gallorette Stakes, and it features the seasonal debut of one of the top filly and mare turf horses of 2020. That's the Graham Motion Train number 5, Mean Mary, who despite failing to win a Grade 1 stakes last year, came awfully close in the Diana.
Yeah, ran a really good race in the Diana, just fell a little bit short to Rushing Fall, who, just doesn't like to lose races, Dan. Mean Mary had a good campaign last year. They found a really nice spot for her to return in this field.
And Mean Mary's game is speed. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector. I know the One Vigilante's Way has shown speed. She went gate to wire against fellow 3-year-old fillies last year in the Tropical Park Oaks. I have a feeling Mean Mary's going to take it to him early.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they conceded with Mean Mary. I know that, as far as making, the pace of this race goes, she was going in longer distance races last year, so the paces weren't as fast. Even so, Dan, I feel like they're just going to put her right on the front here.
I think you and I have always had a different opinion on Vigilante's Way, and I'm starting to come around to your way of thinking. I think you may be right that she's not as good as I thought she was. Let's watch her last race, the Dahlia. She was 6-5 in here, and all in all, I thought the trip was okay. You see her on the outside. These are her antics, though. Lead changes, very, very awkward. She only finishes in a one-paced fashion, but it's a nice horse that beat her in Zontique.
Yeah, the 1-2 finishers this race are both pretty good, Dan. Even Crystal Cliffs, who just misses here, that's a pretty nice filly as well. So she did face a good field here. I, like you, thought she had a good trip in this race and just wasn't good enough. I mean, I guess if you wanted to try to make an excuse for it, you could say that, she was basically 3 wide most of the way. The 1-2 finishers both came up the rail in the stretch. Maybe that had something to do with the finish. I don't know. I just thought she wasn't good enough last time. And, Mean Mary, based on her form last year, is a lot better than this horse.
Chad Brown at a price, maybe with the 2. Great Island, who's 12-1 on the morning line, and is a stakes winner in an off-the-turf race. That was last time out in the Swanee River. Let's go back to her effort 2 starts back in the Via Borghese. She finishes second, but you're going to see she's going to get a little bit nutty in the stretch. She's going to be ducking around a bit. And while she ends up finishing second to a good horse in Always Shopping, you can tell she's still learning a bit.
Yeah, and she is still running at the end of the race, Dan. I do like that about her. I also wonder if maybe this race was a little far for her. I actually like her getting back to a shorter distance for this race. Her first 2 wins on the grass at the end of last year, I thought she ran really well in both of those races. I think this horse is okay.
I think a sleeper, if Mean Mary isn't ready to fire off the layoff, is the 3, also trained by Chad Brown. That's Flighty Lady. Look at the company she kept in France last year during that abbreviated campaign. She ran into Magic Attitude in the Prix Vento. Magic Attitude has done some very nice things in North America for Arnaud de la Cour. She was second in a Group 3. And here's her seasonal debut. Off a long layoff for Chad, found a great spot for her at odds on. She took the long way around.
She did. This wasn't much of a field, Dan, but I think this is exactly how you would want to see Flighty Lady win her stateside debut at 3-5. They just kept her well in hand off the pace in this race, came wide to the stretch. You can see the strong finish she's put in, running this horse right over on the lead. She's going away at the end. It feels like a perfect starting off point.
Graham Motion has mentioned in the race advance on DRF.com that he entered Tuned. The number 4 is Mean Mary Insurance, and that Tuned will scratch if Mean Mary runs. But let's watch Tuned's last race at Keeneland anyway, because it was a decent performance against non-winners of 2 other than. We see her over and in behind horses. There was a solid pace for her to run at. She's got to pick her way through traffic, and she comes running late for second.
Yeah, this is her running style. They like to sit back and make one run. She has been in some races, though, Dan, that have set up very well for her. And she still only has that 1 win since she got over here to show for it back at the end of 2019. I think she's pretty good. Even if she started in this race, I wouldn't like her, but maybe she could catch some pace.
After her two breakthrough victories, her three breakthrough victories in graded stakes competition, Mean Mary gave Rushing Fall all she could handle in the Diana. And then in the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf, she got caught up in a pretty fast pace. She wasn't able to make the out-and-out lead. She ran okay. She took him down to about the 3/16 pole before tiring. While she has run at these middle distances in the past, do you think she's more effective going longer?
I mean, she might be. Her speed obviously plays in those longer distance races because those races they don't go fast paces, Dan, and she can just get control, get comfortable, and she still finishes very strongly. So those races play more to her advantage maybe. But I just think she's a good horse overall. I really like her. I think all of her turf races are good, and she obviously just sort of stands out in this field.
Here's a hard-trying multiple stakes winner who has a recency advantage over Mean Mary. That's the second choice on the morning line, the number 6, Feel Glorious. Let's watch her last race at Gulfstream Park, the Sand Springs Stakes. We see her on the outside in the green hat. She's a real hard trier. She gets up for second. She's probably found her plateau in the low to mid 90s range. She might need a slight step forward to beat Mean Mary if Mean Mary shows up with her A game, but she's a hard hitter.
Yeah, she is. That race we just watched there, I didn't think was necessarily her best performance, Dan, but she's better than that. She's got some really good races on her card, and as you say, she's a real hard-trying horse. I'm a huge fan of Feel Glorious. I don't know if I feel like she can beat this field, Dan, but she could certainly get a piece of it.
Take a look at who we like in the grade 3, Gallorette. And Mean Mary just looks like the horse to beat. Graham Motion generally does very, very well off layoffs, and she should be on or near the lead and right in the thick of things when they turn for home. We're both going 5-3.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought she was hard to go against. Dan, obviously, you're going to be asked to take a short price off a layoff here, which is never ideal, but I just think she's better than these horses.
Mean Mary kicks off her 2021 campaign for Graham Motion in the grade 3 Gallorette on Preakness Saturday.